If you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, then you're gonna wanna watch this entire video because in it, I'm gonna save you potentially a ton of time and money and energy by sharing my top 5 tips and the things that I wish I knew when I was first starting my channel. Hey there, my name is Erhart and you're watching The Modern Marketing Show, where we help you get more leads, customers, and sales by making way better marketing. So if that's something you're into, you may wanna consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. I've been on YouTube for quite a few years now, and looking back over my career as a YouTuber, you can say that I've learned quite a few things and made an awful lot of mistakes in even getting to the level that I'm at now. In fact, with over 200 videos uploaded, you can say I've made a lot of mistakes because some of them have done amazingly well and gotten tens of thousands of views, and others have crashed and burned, getting basically tens or hundreds of views. But where things get really exciting is that even with a smaller YouTube channel, I've still managed to attribute over $100,000 per year in revenue generated just from my YouTube channel alone. So clearly, when anyone asks me if I think starting a YouTube channel is a good idea, my answer is almost always definitely yes. And the follow-up to that question is almost always, well, isn't it too late to start? And my response to that one is, of course not. But things are a little more competitive, so you do need to be more strategic. That's what this video is all about. So with all that said, let's dive into the meat and potatoes with tip number 1. And essentially, this is the thing that I really wish I'd had a firm grasp on when I first started, because it would have saved me floundering and going all sorts of different directions. And that tip is to have a goal. Now, I know you've probably heard this before. In fact, it's pretty much the most common and generic piece of business advice ever, so I do apologize, but bear with me because we're gonna get a little more specific here. You see, the reason that you need to have a goal when it comes to YouTube is because this is going to align the direction of your channel over the next weeks or months or potentially even years. Now, if your goal is simply to go out there and document your journey and have a lot of fun along the way, then that's great. I mean, that essentially is a goal in and of itself, but it's gonna be hard to track, and eventually, as kind of the novelty wears off, you may get bored and you may let your channel slide, which all too many creators do. On the other hand, if you've got a more, say, business-minded goal, you're planning on using YouTube as a key part of your overall marketing strategy, well, then you're able to start to dial in exactly where it is that you want to end up and how YouTube can help facilitate this and basically get you to your goal a whole lot faster. Now, something that works hand in hand with having a goal is the fact that you need to take YouTube seriously. I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, especially because YouTube is full of video game streaming and funny cat videos and all sorts of other random weird things. But you, my friend, you're different. You're gonna take it seriously because this is gonna be an active and valuable part of your overall business, right? In fact, let me ask you a question. Are you planning on using your YouTube channel for business? If so, leave a yes in the comment section below. If you're planning on doing it for fun, then leave a no in the comment section below. Really curious to hear. All right, so back on the topic of having a goal. Essentially what we need to do here is less setting a goal about how many subscribers you want to get or how many views you want to get, but rather where you want the direction of your channel to go. Essentially, what topics are you going to be discussing? What kind of content are you going to create? What kind of audience are you going to be creating it for? And how long are you really going to be able to stick out this game? Because it's really rare in the world of YouTube to hit those really short-term wins. Rather, YouTube tends to be a lot more of a long game. This is why it's so important to have that vision, have that goal, have that direction that you want to head in, because there's going to be some tough days, some tough weeks, and potentially even some tough months, or maybe even tough years. And you need that vision to keep you on track and keep you creating content, which will ultimately lead you exactly where you want to go. All right, so the next tip that I want to cover, and something I really wish someone had told me when I was first getting started, is to understand YouTube's place in your overall business or strategy. You see, there's a lot of talk these days about YouTube being a business and becoming a creator and becoming a full-time YouTuber. What they fail to mention is that YouTube is really just a social media platform, meaning it's a source of traffic. It's not a business in and of itself. This is why it's so important to really break down, again, that goal and that overall strategy of what you're trying to achieve, and then understanding how YouTube is going to play a part in helping you achieve those goals, rather than kind of being a goal in and of itself, unless you just want to become a YouTube celebrity or something like that. And I'm not knocking YouTube or Instagram celebrities either. That's a great business and they're doing really well for themselves. But if you happen to have more business-minded aspirations, then it is really important to understand where YouTube's going to fit into your overall strategy and how you're going to monetize this as a business. Fortunately, today, there's a ton of different ways to monetize YouTube, which means you not only get the fun and the creativity of going out there and producing great content, but you're also going to be financially rewarded for it, which is amazing. Now, when it comes to monetizing your content, essentially making money from YouTube, by far the most common and definitely the most commonly talked about one is simply running Google AdSense. That's it. You know those pre-roll ads that show up before the video that you're trying to watch, or the little banners that often appear at the kind of bottom middle part of the video? Well, all of that is Google AdSense, which is basically other companies paying to promote their content on your channel. Now, I don't want to get bogged down in the details of how this all works. It's just important to know that this is an option and you are able to monetize your channel depending on what type of content you're producing. But in my opinion, this is also probably the least effective and certainly the least profitable strategy available. After all, you simply don't make enough money unless you're getting millions and millions of views on all your content. Another option that's far easier to get started with is none other than affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is simply when you recommend another person's products or services and you put a link. When the person clicks the link and buys the product or service, well, you get financially compensated for their purchase. Now, the beauty of affiliate marketing is that you can get started as early as today because you don't need your own products, you don't need your own services, and all you have to do is put a link to something that you know and use and recommend that people use as well. Now, depending on what niche or what genre your channel is going to be in, there's a ton of different affiliate offers out there. But by far the most common, definitely the most well-known, is none other than Amazon affiliates. The beauty of Amazon affiliates is that pretty much everybody knows Amazon, and signing up for an account is free and pretty simple to do. Once you get that, all you need to do is find a product that you like, grab the link for it, and put it in the description box of your YouTube video. A real quick example of this is later on in this video, I'm going to recommend a lighting setup that I think you should probably check out, especially if you're on a budget. Well, I'm going to use an affiliate link from Amazon, which means if you happen to click it, head over to Amazon and purchase the lights that I recommend, I get a small kickback from them. Now, admittedly, the affiliate kickback here isn't a whole lot, but it does play a part in your overall monetization strategy. Every little bit helps. Another option when it comes to monetizing your channel is doing brand deals, which is kind of a form of affiliate, but basically what you're going to do here is get products or services from a company, possibly offer them reviews or do tutorial videos on it, and the brand will compensate you for the content you create. And finally, we have my absolute top pick, but it's definitely going to take a lot more effort, and that's using YouTube to promote your own products or services, essentially using YouTube as a traffic and attention generator for your business. Now, when I mentioned in the beginning how YouTube was responsible for generating $100,000 a year in revenue just from YouTube alone, well, this is because I was using YouTube to create content, and then people were watching the content, engaging with it, and then going to check out my agency or my consulting services. But if you don't happen to have your own business yet, or you don't have your own products or services, that's okay. You can still start with the affiliates and the brand deals and even the AdSense and work up to that later. My next tip is to really understand and study the YouTube fundamentals. We're talking about things like keyword research and doing proper titles, writing proper descriptions, researching tags, and designing good thumbnails. But by far, probably the single most important YouTube fundamental there is to choose a niche and stay in it. What this means is, let's say you're a photographer and you want to create a channel on photography. Well, that's great. And you can create tutorials, you can do gear reviews, you can show photo editing techniques, all that's fun. But let's say that you also want to include things on travel, getting a little bit more out there, and maybe food, definitely out there, and maybe health and fitness. Way too out there. The problem is when you have all these diverse and scattered interests, YouTube doesn't really know how to place you into the algorithm. Not to mention, people that are going to be following you for your photography advice, you're going to totally lose them when you start talking about travel or health or food or anything like that. Now, over time, as you create more and more content, you're going to start to realize what types of content resonates best with your audience. Then you can start to slowly shift into that area and create more content around that. And essentially over time, your channel is going to evolve and modify and adjust to suit the needs of your audience, getting you more views and more subscribers. Another part of YouTube fundamentals that you really need to understand is kind of nerdy, totally techie, but very important, and that is essentially the analytics tab. You really need to understand the metrics of your videos. Now, the reason this is so important is because by looking at the data, looking at the hard numbers and the metrics of your videos and seeing which ones perform and which ones don't, well, it's going to enable you to double down on your really good and best performing content and scrap all the stuff that just isn't performing as well. Without looking at the numbers, this would just be a best guess. But when you have hard data, it really makes it more of a science than an art and allows you to really dial in exactly what your audience wants to see from you. The next tip that I want to share, and I really wish someone had told me right at the beginning, was to get excited, but not too excited. Here's what I mean. Essentially, when you first make the decision to become a YouTuber or create YouTube content at the very least, well, it's going to be pretty exciting. After all, this is a brand new channel. You're going to be getting to experiment with new things. You're going to be trying out new gear. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's also going to be really overwhelming. And you may not really have a true sense of just how much time or energy or money this is all really going to take until you're well into it. This is why starting slow and building from there is by far my best recommendation here. Don't come out swinging and try to produce a video a day or even 3 videos a week. Rather, if you can shoot for just 1 video a week or maybe even 1 video every 2 weeks just to get started, this is going to be a great start. One of the worst things you can do, something we see all the time, is someone comes out just guns blazing and they're posting videos all the time, they're doing live streams, they're responding to comments. They do this for like 30 days, maybe 60 days, and then it starts to basically just fall off a cliff. And we never hear from them again. All that time and money and energy, totally wasted. And essentially what could have been a very profitable and very promising YouTube career gets flushed down the toilet. Now, a follow-up to this is that the gear that you choose really doesn't matter as much as you think. Meaning, if you've got a cell phone, smartphone with a decent camera, you're pretty much good to go. One thing I will say, however, is that the audio quality is going to matter more than the video quality. Kind of surprising, but essentially, if you've got really shoddy and sketchy audio, much like my first videos did, it's hard to keep people engaged and interested because they're going to have a hard time hearing you. So the first piece of gear you should probably invest in is a half-decent microphone. Now, you don't need to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars here. In fact, even a $100 lav mic is going to do really great things for your audio quality. I'll make sure to link up my recommendations in the descriptions below. Also, as we touched on really briefly, good lighting is going to go a long way, and it's going to help make even a half-decent camera look a whole lot better. Fortunately, lighting couldn't be free or even really cheap. For the free version, all you need to do is film outside or near a window. And for the cheap version, I'm going to recommend a couple really cheap and budget-friendly solutions in the description box below you can go check out. These are the exact lights that I started with when I was first getting involved in YouTube, and they lasted me for a long, long time. My next tip is to just get started. Your 10th video is going to be a whole lot better than your first. And your 100th video is going to be a whole lot better than your 10th. But none of that's going to happen if you don't get out there and start shooting. You see, there's no replacement for experience, and that experience can only be gained by actually going out there and getting in front of a camera and hitting record. My first YouTube videos were blurry and uncomfortable, really awkward. Now they're less blurry, less uncomfortable, less awkward. But I would have never got here had I not gone through those initial pains of making really awkward and uncomfortable stuff. In fact, looking back years ago, when I was first starting on YouTube, I remember being so uncomfortable and so hot and sweaty and just miserable that I had to change my shirt in between filmings because I was just an absolute mess. I'd get tongue-tied. I wouldn't know what to say. I'd stumble and then re-say it and then re-say it, and a 3-minute video would end up taking me an hour to shoot. Fortunately, I've got a hack for you to avoid all of that, and it's just this. For your very first YouTube video, my recommendation is that you have no intention of posting it. Meaning, record a video as if you're going to post it and then just delete it. Nobody needs to see it. Nobody even needs to know that you ever even did this thing. Just get that first one out of the way, because you'd be amazed at how much more comfortable you are knowing that you've got a trial run and you can just produce something with no one ever seeing it, and knowing that you're going to get better over time. All it's going to take is some practice. But the only way to get that practice is to just get started. That's why I've linked up 2 videos here you need to check out right now. The first is how to write great content, which is going to show you pretty much exactly what you need to know in order to write really high converting and engaging YouTube scripts. And the other one is digital marketing strategies for small business, where I'm giving you 20 of my absolute best tips and tricks, which will help you grow your YouTube channel even more. So make sure to check them out now.